Hi everybody, long time no see. Thank you for your patience and thank you for being here mostly. We're gonna do like a collective message today. I've been working with many decks and I would like to work this way today. The theme is, reading current energies, of course, but looking into maybe what you're focusing on now that you're also projecting ahead, looking into the next 6 months, right? So let's just start. Let's get going. I'm going to start with a creativity oracle card. As a pointer. On the current energies mainly. 3 cards. So there's a lot going on for you. It feels. You have introspection, willpower, and resistance. So introspection is often necessary to deepen our awareness of the unity and divinity of life. Use your willpower to bravely overcome thoughts of compromise and defeat, and understanding why you resist what you have to do is a crucial part of the creative process. I find it interesting that you're basically fighting yourself almost with something that you're doing that is obviously creative, but for which you feel that you need to apply so much discipline and so many efforts. It feels difficult for you. This willpower card, as much as it's helping you here, I guess confirming that you need to apply willpower, that it is needed. It's also calling you out because it's saying that you probably are having really a hard time putting in the work, or just the motivation is not there. Maybe you're doing too much introspection. Like it's always good to introspect, but maybe there's a little too much of that going on. Let me pick some other cards here and look at what it is that you're working on that's creative, that is actually costing you so much in terms of discipline, motivation, sheer willpower, balance. It's équilibre. You're actually working very hard at keeping balanced. Hence why maybe the introspection is a little too much sometimes. You might be ruminating instead of actually really tackling the issues, quote unquote, right? Or you could be introspecting so much that within the introspection you're wavering greatly between opposites, right? No matter what that is, could it be 2 things, or just you're part of light, you're part of shadow, whatever it is, but there's something that is not unified within yourself. And that's creating the resistance outwardly in your life, or just it's creating resistance in general, but specifically for a creative project. And the card here points to understanding the why as being the key here. So let's see if we can find out the why you're resisting, for one, and also why you're resisting feeling balanced or balancing yourself out. Besides having the difficulty of putting in the discipline to do so, so either by meditating, by exercising, by, eating right, all of the above, and many more other ways of taking care of oneself and making oneself feel balanced. Ooh. The devil. That is the why. That's the resistance. The why is the devil. So you have an addiction of some sort. You have compulsive behaviors or things that you keep going to that you need to release that are no good for you. They're just not serving you, especially not now. One of them could be that lack of discipline, of course, consistency, and all the way to being committed. Although you're chained as in within a commitment, which is ironic because basically you're committed to not doing so great. And by that I mean you're committed to, I guess you're reinforcing some bad habits. You're just having a hard time breaking from your habits. They could be that they're not so detrimental, but overall they need to change maybe at this moment in time for you in your life. If it spoke of unity and divinity, right? Aligning you with that. And that would be through being balanced. And ultimately just being at peace. And being at peace because you're not burning with wants wants and maybe even needs, but mostly wants, because the devil is not so much about what you need than things that you want that are not necessarily, I want to say, adapted or fitted for you. Just they're not fit for you. I want to look at the devil energy a little bit more here. I want to see if I have a special deck here with magical symbols, and I want to take a look at maybe if it wants to color the devil energy for you, to maybe point it out to you what it is that you could be detrimental to you. It's a really cool card for clarifying the devil. It says Uzi. Uzi means to dare doing, and it says obtain new opportunities, right? But just the fact that it's about daring, so there are things that you do that require a lot of I guess daredevil energy, because that's really the word. They could be really not good for you, as in perceived even by society as not being good, like substance abuse, criminal acts, God knows. There are many things that could be not so dire that could be also frowned upon. So, but it's interesting that out of the balance, right? I think what's really going on, it's not so much to have certain habits that are not, the best. I think we all have certain habits that are not so great. as long, I guess, as we can keep them in check or something like that. But it's really showing that, you know, this balance thing here in the middle. You're balancing daring to do things that you would take you outside of your comfort zone, right? You need to balance doing that, which would be positive ultimately, with doing things and daring too much and doing things either for too long or then ending up choosing maybe the wrong things to do. Whether you do them for escapism or you do them because you need a break, you need, I don't know, a change, you need some passion, you need some excitement, whatever the motivation is. But we were talking about creating something, you know, initially. But let's see, it's not really moving in this way anymore with the cards, but it's pointing much more to the things that you would dare to do, and finding the right balance between those things that are not so good that you can still do, and it'll make your life full or fuller, and yet not falling into the other extreme of doing those too much and too often and too in excess, or however you want to put it. And maybe that's why the willpower is really the crucial element here. It's what regulates everything, because you might be and probably should be doing some devilish things, but there's I guess a right dosage for that, and a right time or something like that. Let's pull some tarot. Let's see. Maybe it'll tell us what it is that you do that is not so great, or that could be perceived as a habit or something toxic, or that you can't stop yourself from doing. The Ace of Staves, I guess it's Ace of Wands. It's easier said for me. It has to do with sex. It has to do with your sexuality. It has to do with, you know, getting jiggy with it. It has to do with being turned on, wanting to turn on people, doing things, initiating things, being very upfront about it, really not shy. It's very strong here. Let's see the other side of that scale from the Ace of Wands here. This card. The Eight of Wands, the Eight of Staves. I don't know how to pronounce that word. You know, on the other side, it's the excess. It's like there was one, now there's 8. And they're going so fast now. And it's like you can't stop it. And word gets around about you indulging and you being compulsive, really. It's an interesting thing. You could probably also have an excessive words, an excessive sharing too much. It could also be that you are very restless and you need to go places, and you're very, you don't stay in one spot very often. So especially in terms of relationships, sexual relationships, is that we're really looking at here. Like, there's no doubt about this in this reading, really. It could be that it makes you fickle because, or just you are very active with numerous people, or it just makes you in and out, right? Because you're restless, you're moving a lot, so you're moving from one to another, so you don't spend time developing relationships, profound relationships. But you do there. So maybe you're online dating. It feels like online dating. It's crazy. Especially with the 8 of Wands. With the devil there, it could be this thing about pictures and sharing, you know, like even just for some people, it's not about sharing nudes here. I'm talking about like creating a profile, putting yourself out there, like having to write your bio, having to describe yourself, and then basically share and open yourself up. So for some people that's really difficult. But the end game here is sexual, that's for sure. This is a really like an online dating scenario kind of thing. It's really funny. I didn't expect that at all. Actually, I'm gonna choose to use these cards. This is really funny. Okay. So I'm using adventure, like they're story generator cards for like board games, like of the likes of Dungeons and Dragons. So they look like this. I'm gonna pull an action card and see what that action, of course it's gonna be kind of remote from what we're already reading here, because you're gonna see it points to, it's fantastic, right? It's not even, sometimes what's described here is not even possible, it doesn't exist, but you'll see. It makes it fun. I want this one. Okay. So the action here about, I guess the devilish action is about will bribe. So influencing the actions of others by offering something in return that is hard to resist. If that's not devil energy, then I don't know what is. Okay, this is pretty on the money. And I'm saying money, which is funny because it talks about, you know, offering something, and then the choices are wealth in some form, be it golden coins, masterpieces, businesses, or other valuable assets. It could be that you're offering magic, the offer of a ritual or a spell cast in their favor, a powerful magic item, or even tuition in a particular school of arcana. You could be exchanging might, so gifting an army, buying mercenaries for a cause, or even weapons, armor, or training for personal might. That's one of those examples where we probably know it won't be might, but who knows? Magnificence, you could be offering magnificence, some aspect of power that is too alluring to resist, a position within court, a renowned cloak worn by previous heroes, a seat in government. So really what I think that you could be exchanging here with this, you know, what you're daring to do in terms of opening yourself up, you know, what you're resisting is mainly your own sexuality. I think you're feeling a surge that is making you burst open, so much so that you're caught between, you know, not at all and too much of it. I think it's an intricate and delicate thing for you, subject, because we have the devil here. So there's something where you feel you're being totally you're out of control when that takes you takes over you, that energy, that sexual I guess feelings. Then you feel more than vulnerable. You feel like you don't own yourself or something. So it feels like you're resisting this greatly. I feel like you're trying to exercise willpower when it comes to balancing out your, I was saying before, your wants, but maybe it does speak to the sexual needs ultimately. But it is mainly your wants as well, right? So knowing what is a just ratio between yes, expressing your sexuality and with whom and how, I guess, is all of that is being described. And that for some reason, when it comes to you, you use sexuality as a bribe, maybe with other people, as a means of controlling them, right? So it could be through money, through magic, through might, through magnificence, whichever. For me here would be more wealth or magnificence, but you know, you can read, you can pause, and hopefully it's focused. And then let's look at the intent. That was the action. Let's look at the intention of that energy for you. It's so interesting. It's interesting that it would be on the topic of sexuality, which didn't really come through until the devil card popped out. Okay, so the intention here, I'm sorry, it's funny, to create chaos. So the actor wants to promote a kind of chaos, a rebuttal of imposed laws, return to natural state, or disruption of civilization. So it could be political. The actor wants to throw the governance of the realm into question, causing a scramble for power. It could be civilian. The actor wants citizens to rebel against their oppressors or rulers, or to disrupt the market. It could be natural. The actor wants civilization to fall apart and for the wild forces of nature to take control once more. The actor wants the planes to merge. It could be planar. The actor wants the planes to merge, recreating the universe in a new light. Okay, so this is a little far-fetched, of course, for the scope of this reading, but I can still pull some meaning, some kind of logic here. And I would really definitely apply it to natural. I think that the intent about creating chaos, basically, it's to return to the natural. So what it is that you feel that you're being thrown off balance by the devil energy when it takes you, this sexual energy takes over you, I feel you are so taken by it. So for some reason you want the wild forces of nature to take control once more. So I guess you actually indulge and dare into maybe some particular sexual, either who you go towards, how you go about obtaining it, the kind of relationship you actually create around it, and ultimately with whom you share it, right? So for some reason, you enjoy the excess. I think that you enjoy the wild forces, but you are really you're caught. You're maybe discovering all of this. The introspection card was the first one. Maybe you're discovering this about, you know, yourself, about what it is that turns you on, about things that you didn't know you wanted, and in a particular way. Maybe it has to do with domineerance, being domineering with the willpower, right? All of these things are possible, but ultimately you're resisting this, so you sway greatly. And I think, honestly, I think you really have the possibility of being someone loyal in general, but there's something about your sexuality that definitely needs addressing here, in terms of exploration. I think that maybe at the moment it'd be interesting, well, I think you're doing it. I don't think you're in one relationship per se. Or you might choose one particular partner here with the ace, but then you're gonna want to explore multiple scenarios, multiple roles. There's definitely something about speaking, words, right? For sure. With the Eight of Wands. Okay, Ten of Swords came out. It's a different deck. I'm gonna pull one more. I wanted to know the why of the resistance. So, because on the resistance card, it said, understanding why you resist. And the Ten of Swords came out. But I want to clarify the Ten of Swords with another card there. The Eight of Swords in reverse. There's so much stress attached to the topic. You resist because you've been betrayed in the past. You resist indulging yourself, maybe because you went overboard. I feel you would have been placed in a situation. I mean, I know the Eight of Swords is in reverse, but it's still, you would have been trapped. Maybe you felt trapped to this, obviously it's the devil energy, right? There's something that occurs always in the same way, right? Constantly. And that's very limiting. It's a loop. But I feel you managed to break out, or you're learning to, at least here, you're learning to, I think it's funny. You're learning by going to extremes, playing between extremes and maybe not having any, to having a lot of it. It could be from having only one partner to multiple partners. It could be from, having it done in I'm going to say a more conventional way, or then maybe having to bribe people for it, whether you do it consciously or not. That's another thing. But I feel you're doing the introspection, so I feel you're conscious of what's happening. I think you're conscious of your exploration. I think you're conscious of what it is you're trying to achieve here that is going to be beneficial. I think you do want to have a grasp yourself on this mechanism within yourself. I think this card about wanting to create chaos, I think it's probably just to explode any rigidity that you might have had prior. You want to be able to dare all the time. But I feel that you would want to do it in a very healthy way ultimately, even if the devil card is there, because I think what's healthy is that you're looking for balance. So you are working on this, like literally working on it. And the reason why you resist your strong libido or your wants and your desires is because you would have been betrayed in the past. You would have been caught up with your own, you would have kept yourself imprisoned, I guess. Remote. You're the one that would have inflicted this on yourself, right? It feels very painful here. What happens with these two cards, it feels like a pattern, something that you would have repeated in the past. Something very hurtful that you keep thinking about, but that you're able to come out of it, but only to come back to it. You know what I mean? Like, it might have been a loop, literally. Or you're afraid of running into the same issue of betrayal is why you resist your sexuality. You're, I guess, afraid of the past hurt. I moved the camera that actually placed the cards differently on the table. Anyway, I didn't expect that. Let me draw a trinket on balance. How are you balancing out? Two want to come out. I'm laughing because the one that was attached is actually the scales, which is, it's incredible. And then on the side here, it's nice. It's the little bench with the two little doves, the lovebirds on top. What it shows me is that there needs to be a balance. I was just saying to you about having a strong urges, right? And yet being respectful of the people that you relate to within that context or through this energy of the Kundalini. You know, it shows you that also Libra is the sign of, I guess, relationships, right? To make it really, really simple here. And so ultimately it points to your relationships. It points to your capacity to love and being being loved. Love and let love. I know it's live and let live, but it felt like saying love and let love. You know, this little bench, I was pausing for a moment because it feels like right now the bench is empty, right? There's nobody sitting on that bench. But it feels that when you'll be balanced, when I guess you have solved this a little bit more within yourself, I think this bench could be filled. Someone could, you know, you could certainly see you, I could certainly see you sitting here with somebody in a love relationship that would include torrid sexual encounters and allow you to feel, you know, vulnerable without being ripped or how do you say, as if you're not going to exist anymore, you know what I mean? As if you would dissolve and the other person would gain the power, something like that. Because it's the devil energy, right? And we have the willpower. So because it's to create chaos, there's something about having control here is very prominent. It's having control and losing control. Anyways, what I'm glad for is that it opens up, this reading about sexuality actually opens up to relationships. True balanced relationships, by the way, which is great. Anyways, that's what I have. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you soon. Good night. Or good, it's a good day.